Lionesses trapped a baby gorilla, but they didn't expect this from the mother. The air in the emerald heart of the Virunga Mountains does not just carry oxygen, it carries the weight of ancient secrets, the damp, mossy breath of 1,000 years of undisturbed growth. And today, it carries the sharp, metallic tang of impending tragedy. In a clearing where the golden hour light filters through the canopy like molten honey, 2 lionesses, lean and ribbed with the hunger of a long, dry season, stand frozen. They are out of their element, having strayed from the sun-scorched savannas into the tangled, humid periphery of the highland forest. Before them lies a small, trembling heap of charcoal-colored fur, a 3-month-old gorilla infant, his eyes wide, reflecting the amber predators with a terrifying clarity. But as the larger lioness lowers her head, baring teeth that could snap bone like dry kindling, something impossible happens. A shadow, immense and silent as a shifting mountain, eclipses the sun. It is not the expected charge of a silverback, nor the frantic screaming of a troop in retreat. It is a presence so profound that the very insects of the forest fall silent. The mother gorilla, a seasoned matriarch named Nyota, does not strike. She does not roar. Instead, she walks directly into the space between the claws and the child, her movements fluid and devoid of the jerky adrenaline of fear. She sinks to her knees, exposing her own vulnerable throat, and reaches out a hand, not to strike, but to touch the scarred muzzle of the lead huntress. It is a moment that defies every law of the jungle, a subversion of predator and prey that leaves the witnesses in the brush. A team of seasoned researchers, breathless and trembling. Before we delve deeper into this miraculous encounter and uncover the hidden truth that stayed the lion's lethal instincts, I want to take a moment to welcome you to our circle of storytellers. If these tales of profound animal connection touch your soul, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing to our channel to join our global family. We would love to know where in this vast, beautiful world you are joining us from today. Leave a comment below with your location and the local time. It is your support that allows us to keep bringing these incredible, heart-stirring stories of the natural world to light. To understand the gravity of Nyota's choice, we must first understand the world she inhabits. The Virunga Heights are a place of perpetual mist, where the scent of rotting vegetation mingles with the sweetness of wild celery and the sharp, medicinal aroma of eucalyptus. Nyota had always been an outlier among her troop. While other mothers were protective to the point of aggression, Nyota possessed a quiet, observational wisdom. She was known to sit for hours watching the flight of iridescent sunbirds, her large, leather-textured fingers gently tracing the patterns of moss on the bark of ancient hagenia trees. Her bond with her infant, whom the researchers called Kaji, was a symphony of tactile affection. In the cool blue dawns, when the frost still clung to the lobelias, she would pull him to her chest, their breathing synchronizing in the quiet rhythm of a shared soul. The researchers, who had followed Nyota for nearly a decade, noted that she seemed to possess an almost supernatural level of empathy, often comforting younger gorillas who were not her own, or even standing guard over injured forest dukers. She was a creature of peace in a world often defined by the red and tooth and claw philosophy of nature. The crisis began on a Tuesday, under a sky the color of bruised plums, heavy with the humid promise of a torrential downpour. A freakish weather pattern had pushed a pride of lions up from the lowlands, driven by a desperate drought that had decimated their usual prey. These were not the confident kings of the plains. They were desperate. Their coats dull and matted with burrs, their ribs protruding like the hull of a wrecked ship. When they stumbled upon the gorilla troop, the silverback had led the group into the dense bamboo thickets, but Kaji, distracted by a brightly colored beetle, had lagged behind. By the time the alarm bark echoed through the trees, the 2 lionesses had already cut him off. The researchers, watching through high-powered lenses from a ridge above, felt a cold, acidic dread pool in their stomachs. There was no way to intervene. The clinical reality was grim. A lion's bite force and the gorilla's lack of natural defense against such feline precision meant the encounter should have been over in seconds. Dr. Eris Thorne, the lead primatologist, whispered into his recorder, his voice cracking with the weight of expected loss. We are about to witness the end of Nyota's lineage. The lions are in a state of predatory frenzy. There is no biological precedent for what is happening. But the failure of instinct is where the miracle began. As the lionesses closed in, the air grew thick with the scent of ozone and the musky, sharp odor of feline sweat. Nyota's intervention was not an act of war, but an act of profound, radical vulnerability. As she knelt before the predators, the researchers noticed something peculiar through their binoculars. Nyota wasn't just touching the lioness. She was making a low, rhythmic, humming sound, a vibration that seemed to resonate through the very earth. The lionesses, instead of snapping, began to falter. Their ears, previously pinned back in aggression, started to flicker. The lead lioness, a battle-scarred female with a notched ear, leaned forward. She didn't bite. She sniffed. She inhaled the scent of Nyota's skin, a mixture of crushed herbs, rain-soaked earth, and something else. Something chemical and deep. The tension in the clearing was a physical thing, like a bowed string stretched to the point of snapping. For 10 agonizing minutes, the 3 apex creatures remained in this tableau, the mother gorilla offering her life, the predator suspended in a state of confusion, and the infant tucked beneath the mother's massive thigh, his small heart drumming a frantic tattoo against her fur. The reveal of the truth came only after the lionesses eventually turned and vanished into the fog, their tails tucked in a gesture of submission rather than defeat. When the research team finally descended to the clearing, they expected to find Nyota in shock. Instead, they found her cradling Kaji, but her eyes were fixed on the spot where the lions had stood. Dr. Thorne noticed a dark, weeping sore on the lead lioness's paw print left in the mud, smelling of infection and decay. But the real revelation was Nyota herself. Upon closer medical examination days later, conducted via long-range thermal imaging and fecal analysis, it was discovered that Nyota was producing a specific pheromone surge, one usually associated with extreme communal healing. More shockingly, the touch she had initiated was a precise pressure point hold on the lioness's facial nerve, a behavior never before documented in primates. Nyota had not just been brave, she had recognized the lioness's own agony. The predator wasn't just hungry, she was dying of a systemic infection from a thorn wound. Nyota had felt the acidic scent of pain emanating from her enemy, and had responded with a cross-species triage. She had used her immense strength not to crush, but to soothe the lion's nervous system through a calculated empathetic touch. The miracle was actually a sophisticated display of biological intelligence, a recognition that a pained predator is a lethal one, and the only way to survive was to heal the threat. The resolution of the event brought a transformative peace to the forest. For weeks afterward, the synchronized breathing of the troop seemed deeper, more resonant. The tension that usually followed a predator encounter, the hair-trigger tempers, and the restless nights, was absent. Nyota spent her days groomed by the other females, her status elevated to something almost shamanic within the group. The first moment of true physical reconnection between her and the silverback was captured on film, a gentle bumping of heads, a long, lingering embrace where the two massive shadows merged into one against the backdrop of a setting sun that turned the mist into a veil of violet and gold. The infant, Kaji, seemed to have matured overnight, staying close to his mother's side but no longer trembling. The healing wasn't just physical, it was an emotional recalibration of their entire world. The forest felt safer, not because the predators were gone, but because the mother had proven that even the most violent heart can be reached through the language of the heart. This story leaves us with a profound philosophical legacy. It challenges the survival of the fittest narrative that has dominated our understanding of nature for centuries. What Nyota showed us is that perhaps the fittest are those with the greatest capacity for empathy, those who can see past the claws and the teeth to the suffering beneath. It suggests a sixth sense of love that transcends species, a biological imperative to preserve life that can override even the most primal hungers. If a gorilla can recognize the pain of a lion and respond with a healing touch, what does that say about the potential for empathy in our own lives? It suggests that the world is far more interconnected than we dare to imagine, woven together by invisible threads of sensory understanding and emotional resonance. The intelligence of the heart is not a human monopoly. It is a universal frequency, hummed by the mountains and echoed in the silent, amber gaze of a predator who chooses to walk away. As the mists close back over the Virunga peaks and the shadows lengthen across the forest floor, we are reminded that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, but felt. Nyota and Kaji continue to roam those high ridges, a living testament to the power of a mother's love and the unexpected grace found in the wild. We hope this journey into the heart of the forest has stayed with you, perhaps shifting your perspective on the creatures we share this planet with. If this story moved you, please give this video a like and share it with someone who needs a reminder of the beauty in the world. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss another story of nature's wonders. Before you go, we have a question for you. Have you ever witnessed a moment of animal intuition or an unexpected connection between different species that defied logic? We would love to hear your stories in the comments below. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for being a part of this journey. Until next time, keep your heart open to the whispers of the wild.